Okay. Welcome to battle number 4 of week number 5 of the FnF Victory Road Draft League Season 2. This battle is going to be pitting Quest's team, which is Verocious Victini, versus Emberhoof's team, which is Rio Grande Rapidash. Additionally, we have Mega Pokemon on both teams. There's Mega Aerodactyl and Mega Diancie, respectively. Finally, the Z Crystal Pokemon are Infernape with Z Attack Privilege on Quest's team. And then on Emberhoof's team, he actually brought his 2 Z Crystal Pokemon, which are Tornadus Therian with any Z Privilege, and Crocodile with Attack Z Privilege. Joining me today in commentary is Morgana from Northern Necrozmas, and we're gonna just jump right into it and say our initial thoughts and then go ahead. We've actually had them waiting for a little while, so I don't know if you want to start with the initials or I'll start.
You go first. They've been waiting way too long. Just go ahead.
Okay. So it looks like Quest is a little bit bulkier overall. They're both pretty bulky. They have some good bulky Pokemon. Milotic is going to be a really good switch-in for Ember in this to everything except basically Tapu Bulu. It'll be able to take a hit, especially if it's defensive, with Marble Scale and Flame Orb. So I'm definitely looking at Milotic as a good defensive Pokemon for Ember. Alternatively, on Quest side, he has Donphan, which is going to be able to take a lot of good physical attacks, and then Empoleon is going to be able to take a lot of those special attacks. Especially Dragalge and Empoleon can pretty much come in not being too threatened because Dragalge will have to use either Draco Meteor or Sludge Bomb. A Thunderbolt might do some damage, but it's not going to be that much because there's no adaptability, and Empoleon's bulk is really good. So, yeah, I think there's some really good defensive potential in both of these sides, and each team has the ability to really give the other some trouble defensively. I think Ember does have a little bit more recovery options, so that'll also help his longevity, considering Milotic has Recover and Tornadus Therian has Regenerator. But then Quest also has Sigilyph with Roost, so that's also something to take into consideration. But yeah, so I'm looking really a lot at those defensive Mons. Of course, there's offensive Mons on both sides too, but the defensive Mons are really poised to kind of take them on. And Ember and Quest have a rivalry, which we will talk in depth about. No, I'm kidding. we want to let them go. Well, okay, so the story is they went first in Season 1 versus each other, and the Swiss system kept wanting to pair them up again this season. So they're paired up now, and we're ready to go. It's finally happening. So, oh yeah, and they face each other in the preseason as well. So Ember really is bringing it and trying his best. Quest is going to see if he could continue his victories, and we'll see what happens. But, yeah, so that's my initial thoughts. I did a long initial thoughts, even though we're running late, but yeah, you could go with your initial.
Well, I think you pretty much covered everything. I'm just gonna say I think Milotic is like a massive problem for Quest right now.
Yeah.
Like if that thing has Marble Scale, like to boost its defense, the only thing that might be able to go like break through it is Tapu Bulu.
Yeah, definitely. Tapu Bulu is going to be a big problem for Ember, just like Milotic's going to be a big problem for Quest.
Yeah, it's basically the tale of 2 Pokemon that they're probably going to be saving and probably going to try to sweep late. And I think it's whoever loses that Pokemon first is probably going to end up losing this battle.
A lot of responsibility falls on those Pokemon, but there are still checks to the teams, even if the Pokemon go down. Like, for example, if Tapu Bulu takes down Milotic, it could still be threatened by Dragalge, for example, or Tornadus Therian. And if Bulu goes down, Quest can still Actually, versus my Lotte, Quest doesn't have that many options if Bulu goes down, so Quest is gonna have to really preserve Bulu.
Maybe Sigilyph might have Energy Ball. That's all I can think of.
If Milotic has Haze, Sigilyph isn't going to be able to break through. So Quest is really going to have to hold on to Tapu Bulu. But who knows? We'll see. Maybe Quest has some other tricks up his sleeve. But yeah, I think we could jump right into it. And
it's less of a jump in and more of like a slow, steady walk this time.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this. Typos. Okay.
You guys can go.
Guyus. All right, so leads. Oh, they picked Infernape and Tornadus Therian.
Quest has loved to lead with Infernape. He's done it for most of the battles, I feel.
U-turning Infernape doesn't let him down.
And he's probably going to U-turn now because Tornadus is not very good for Infernape.
Is it faster? It is faster, actually. So Quest is going to have to be careful. We might even see a hard switch because losing Infernape so early on to a Hurricane or to a Z-flying move, yeah, the hard switch happens. Rex Aerodactyl comes out to take that Air Slash, does 24%, which is not that much damage, but still something.
And the Air Slash does have that flinch chance, which has the ability to screw Quest over even more.
Yeah, that flinch chance can really come in clutch. Versus Rex, I think Majin Buu is going to have to switch out probably to something like Crocodile if it has Intimidate or Diancie. I don't think he'll bring Intimidate Crocodile because he seems to prefer the Moxie variant. But yeah, Rex is in a pretty good position here despite having 24% loss in HP, which isn't that much.
I could see a Rex Hone Claws here.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think that Quest is going to call out that switch and go for the Hone Claws to try to set up a sweep. If Crocodile has Intimidate, it could be a pretty safe switch in, considering Rex can't really hit it that hard unless it has like Aqua Tail. But we'll see.
Maybe he'll Stealth Rock. I mean, I doubt he'll have Stealth Rock because he has Empoleon, but there's always that chance.
Yeah, that's true. This would actually be a pretty safe time for him to Stealth Rock, especially since Tornadus Therian as Ember's Defogger is not going to want to stick around versus Aerodactyl, so he knows that he could get away with the Stealth Rock if he chooses it right now. Majin Buu doesn't really have that high of a moveset. I think it's pretty much like Hurricane, a Hidden Power, and Focus Blast, and that's pretty much its attacking moves. So even if it were to stay out, which I don't think it will, I don't know what it would carry to deal with Aerodactyl. Actually, thinking about it, Crocodile, if it's Choice Scarfed, it could actually be a good switch-in, because even if Aerodactyl goes for the Hone Claws, Crook might have Aqua Tail or Stone Edge.
That's true. I doubt Emberhoof will bring Stone Edge because he's...
Majin Buu goes for the Air Slash, does not switch out, and indeed Quest goes for the Stealth Rock. That is a gutsy move by Ember. That is a very gutsy move by Ember. That Tornadus is probably Scarfed then.
It may be Scarfed, or maybe he was just predicting a switch, but I'm not sure if he should have been predicting a switch, because only 2 of Quest Pokemon really get hit hard by Air Slash anyway.
Yeah, Donphan arguably could be hit a little hard since his special defense isn't too high. But yeah, this... Interesting. Maybe Quest is running a little bit of a bulky Aerodactyl. It's certainly faster than Tornadus, but if it doesn't invest in speed, then it's not that fast, so...
Can Aerodactyl learn Roost?
It can, so that's actually a possibility for Quest. If he's running Stealth Rock on it, maybe he's running Roost as well. But wow,
I'm kind of surprised we're seeing Stealth Rock on Aerodactyl though, because usually he likes to leave Stealth Rock for his more bulky Pokemon.
Yeah, normal Aerodactyl is a great Stealth Rock setter and a nice lead, but Mega Aerodactyl you don't see as often as a lead just because of its potential to sweep instead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really interesting that Tornadus stayed out versus Aerodactyl. That was a very... that was a very, like, come at me bro moment, like...
There's always
like, what are you gonna do?
That you can hope for.
Yeah, true. But then again, there's always the mischance, which you could hope not for. Doing 18%, so 24% was actually the higher damage roll. So Aerodactyl could possibly even live 3 more Air Slashes. Actually, it'll most likely live 3 more Air Slashes.
Does Aerodactyl get a special defense raise when it evolves? I'm assuming not.
I believe there's a slight bulk raise, but barely. That's right, because one hit the regular and one hit the Mega. Mm-hmm. Wait, actually... Yeah, one hit the regular and one hit the Mega, because Infernape switched out. Both of these bird boys flapping. I'm really curious if he's going to go for another Air Slash or if he's going to switch out into something that can take a move from Aerodactyl.
Maybe he was just using Air Slash and maybe just expecting Tornadus to go down so he could get a free switch into something else.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know why he'd do that considering it's so good versus Infernape, for example. Looks like Trouser Snake comes out. Milotic, it's pretty hefty. It takes only 43% from that Stone Edge, and now Rex is going to have to think twice if it wants to stay in. I'd say that was a pretty good switch. Milotic could just recover off that damage.
Plus, this might force Rex to switch out because of... Probably doesn't want to get hit by any Scalds or Hydro Pumps or anything like that.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's actually a lot of pressure versus Quest because Bulu doesn't want to get hit by a stray Scald to get burned either, because that would really be devastating for Quest. Bulu being probably one of his best Pokemon in this match. So I could possibly see a different Pokemon like Empoleon maybe even come in to take that Scald. The big question is now... Yeah, or Sigilyph. Will Ember go for the Recover or will he go for the Scald? That's the big question. I would personally go for the Recover just because like it looks like Stone Edge won't be able to do enough to take Milotic down. And keeping Milotic at full health is very important. But Scald could also be a good option to try and take down Aerodactyl, which I don't think is going to stay in anyways, but still.
Does Milotic have the ability to get rid of rocks? I'm assuming not.
No. It can do a lot of things, but it can't defog. Actually, there's even a possibility we might see Empoleon come in and maybe go for a Toxic on Milotic. The only thing is that would activate Marvel Skill, which isn't good for Quest. But in the long run, if you're Toxic, that's really bad for you as a wall. If you're burned, that's kind of whatever. But if you're Toxic, that's very devastating, even with Marvel Skill considered. When Stone Edge actually going to be used again by Mega Aerodactyl, Milotic's just going to recover that off pretty easily. Quest might be fishing for the critical hit on Stone Edge because it does have an increased critical hit chance.
And if that did crit, it would have killed.
Yes, I believe even still, if it crits, it has a chance to kill. Yeah, at this point, it's a chance to kill and not a guaranteed kill. Depends on the damage roll. Now, this is probably a pretty good time for Milotic to go for that Scald. Actually, yeah, I'd say it's an okay time for Milotic to go for the Scald.
He might recover again.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea either. Keeping Milotic at full health is actually a pretty good idea. Yeah, you called it. Recover was used, but in comes Kuryu, the Tapu Bulu. Now the big question is, who switches into Bulu? Nothing is really comfortable switching into Bulu. This is single-handedly Quest's greatest threat to Ember's team. I'm thinking maybe if Breloom is defensive, it could switch in, but if it's not invested, even resisting a Horn Leech or Woodhammer will do huge damage.
If Bulu doesn't have Stone Edge, Tornadus might be like not a bad idea, but there's also those rocks that do a lot of damage.
Yeah, combined with the rocks, it'll bring Tornadus down to really low health. It's just how Bulu is, it's a beast. All the Tapus, well, all of them except Finny, have pretty much a free choice item attached to them because of their terrains.
And Finny's just a tank.
Yeah. I can't really use it that well. Like, it just interferes with your own status too much. Like, when you want to inflict, like, Toxic or Will-O-Wisp on something, I feel like it's a stall Pokemon that doesn't fit on stall because of that.
It still does have the ability to do a lot of damage, though.
Yeah.
But it is weird for something... Imagine Feeny being a physical attacker with that. So it just won't be able to get burned.
It would be pretty strange, especially because it just doesn't look like a physical attacker, but its physical attack is pretty low. I imagine there's some intense calculations going on right now. The good news for... Oh, really?
I'm thinking of it now, and I dislike the Tapus.
Yeah, I mean, same. It looks like Woodhammer is the move that Kuryu used versus Death Gripper, who is actually going to be able to recover pretty decently with that Black Sludge. It's not that uncomfortable in this matchup. Death Gripper will be able to use a very strong Sludge Bomb to take down Kuryu, but Empoleon is an option to switch in versus it.
That was a resisted hit, 43% HP. Woodhammer does have a lot of base damage.
Yeah, Woodhammer from Tapu Bulu in grassy terrain hits like a truck, even if you resist it.
Part of me thinks... Maybe I'm wrong here, but it might be banded.
I don't know. I feel like if it was banded, it would have done even more, but I'm not sure. It depends on investment and stuff. For reference, a Woodhammer versus my Volcarona did like, I want to say it was like 40% or something like that. Volcarona, who doubly resists Woodhammer.
Okay. So Bulu is just a monster, is what you're saying.
Yep, pretty much like all the Tapus. They're kind of disgusting. I think Coco and Lele are the worst offenders, but Bulu's like right there behind them. I do like the concept of their abilities, though, like being able to summon a terrain, because terrains just weren't relevant at all in Gen 6, and it made them more relevant, but giving such a powerful ability to such an already powerful Pokemon, I felt like Psychic Terrain could have gone to, like, Hypno, for example, you know what I mean? Like, give those low-tier Mons something to make them a little bit more relevant and usable, and their own niche.
I guess... Are the Tapus the only Pokemon that get the Surge abilities? I guess so.
In Gen 7. In Gen 8, they added 4 more that weren't legendary that have the Surge abilities. So I guess that's a step in the right direction.
Except for in Gen 8, weather is just way more important. Plus, you can just get it from Dynamax, so...
Yeah, they also nerfed terrains in Gen 8. I believe the bonus to their respective moves is 1.3 instead of 1.5. So you don't hit as hard. You still hit harder, but just not as hard as the 1.5 from Gen 7. In comes Dumbo the Donphan taking that Sludge Wave. It actually barely does damage. Thinking this could be an Assault Vest Donphan then.
I think it had leftovers.
Oh, it did. Maybe it's just invested heavily in special defense. Because even a resisted hit like that from an adaptability Dragalge, I feel like shouldn't have done that much damage. Then again, it does have leftovers instead of choice specs, so...
A lot of leftover Pokemon so far.
Lots of leftovers and grassy terrain means that leftovers recovery is even multiplied. It's going to be a big help for Ember as he deals with that collateral damage from the rocks. He could kind of shrug that off if he has both grassy terrain and leftovers to recover some more HP. Who will come in versus Donphan? I see Milotic or Breloom coming in. Breloom will certainly enjoy that attack boost from the grassy terrain to its grass-type moves. But the grassy terrain will only be here for 2 or 5 more turns. It looks like it's Milotic taking that Earthquake, and even a critical hit's not going to do much damage, mostly because that grassy terrain reduces the power of Earthquake by 50%. Ember saying he's having a panic attack right now. Playing pretty well, though. Both sides are holding their own. so he's definitely showing he's got it in him.
This is a battle he wants to win, though, because of his rivalry with Quest.
Yeah. That Ice Beam's going to do pretty huge damage on Dumbo, but a knockoff is going to remove those leftovers. That's going to hamper Milotic's longevity in the long run, for sure. I could see Milotic going for a recover here just to get back to full HP, especially since its leftovers are gone. But if Bulu comes out again, it will threaten out Milotic again. Till as old as time. Or maybe not. Maybe Milotic will go for the Ice Beam again to call out that Bulu switch-in.
Could be an Empoleon switch-in.
That would actually be a pretty good scenario, I think, for Ember, because if Empoleon switches in, Milotic is free to recover. And actually, that's exactly what happens. Bomber the Empoleon. More leftovers.
We need to do a counter on how many Pokemon have leftovers.
So far, there's 4, I think. Yeah, 1, 2... Well, Black Sludge, but that's basically leftovers. So yeah, 4 so far. Bomber the Empoleon is here, but if it Toxics Milotic, it's not gonna be good for Quest in some way because of Marvel Scale. Carly the Sigilyph comes out though. Recover is going to allow Milotic to just go right back to full health. Wow, that Energy Ball does big damage, taking Milotic down to 32%. That might be a Choice Specs Sigilyph. Majin Buu comes in, taking that Energy Ball. It's at 51%. Took it pretty comfortably.
I'm still thinking 25% onto a Tornadus Therian is definitely specs.
And a Dark Pulse is going to hit that Mega Aerodactyl. Does 28%. Mega Aerodactyl is barely holding on. Oh, and actually, the damage roll is in Ember's favor. It is able to take down Mega Aerodactyl. That was gutsy, but it paid off. Score is now 5-6. I think Majin Buu is definitely scarfed.
It's hard to tell because its speed set is so high already.
I think it is because it outsped Mega Aerodactyl. With rocks still up, though, Ember will have some trouble switching his Pokemon versus Quest, who does not face any consequences for switching. We already reached the 30-minute mark, and we're only at 5-6.
Oh my god.
Okay, so it looks like Devac comes out, the Infernape. If Tornadus is Scarfed, it's going to have to switch away because Dark Pulse is barely going to do anything versus Infernape. And I could see Infernape probably U-turning here. With Mega Aerodactyl down, Milotic is actually... It's still very useful, of course, but it's a little bit more okay with dying now. Because Mega Aerodactyl was probably the Pokemon that it had the easiest, that it was uniquely equipped to switch into and not have to worry about because of its physical defense stat.
That Ice Beam could still be important for most of Quest Pokemon.
Yeah, but Donphan and Sigilyph are both down to their 30s, so because of that, I feel like Ember would be able to pick them off with let's say Tornadus Air Slash. Quest still having Infernape gives him a lot of options. I feel like Infernape could pretty much harm all of Ember's Pokemon pretty easily, except Diancie. And even then, it might be able to... I forget if it gets Earthquake, but I think it does.
Infernape, I believe, gets Earthquake.
Yeah, not really an easy switch in this scenario, especially considering Infernape has U-turn, so if you switch in a Pokemon like Milotic, it could just U-turn and then switch to Bulu. Some intense calcing, some intense decision-making going on. Maybe they're trying to crack the code of which one is Noob Scrub and which one is Benji.
Yeah, that's where the real calculations are.
The biggest plot twist of all time right now would be if Tornadus used Air Slash and it wasn't Scarfed all along. Dragalge could be a potential switch into Infernape, but again, if it has Earthquake, it's not going to be good for Dragalge.
depends on what Infernape has. Okay, Noel, you don't have to make this any harder than it already is.
Yeah, a lot of people wonder, like, why is Infernape tier 1? It doesn't seem like a tier 1 Pokemon, but then you look at its stat distribution and its move distribution, and you're like, wow, it has options everywhere.
Plus it's fast.
Yeah. So its capabilities are pretty wide, and the biggest thing with Infernape is that you don't know what kind of set it's going to be running until you find out in battle. So it's hard to prepare for that. Ember seems to be not sure of what to do. I think for sure he should definitely switch out Tornadus, just because Regenerator will allow it to survive a little longer, even though rocks are up.
It's okay though, because no matter how long you have to wait, at least you're listening to Mirror B's theme.
That's true. This theme is a bop.
Which
both the Coliseum,
right
both the Coliseum and the XD versions are really good. Been jamming out. I'm just like moving with the beat.
Just bopping your head.
Yeah. I feel like Infernape might be Scarf. Quest does like to run Scarf Infernape.
He has banded Bulu. It might not be banded, but also Choice Specs, Sigilyph. I'm thinking it might not.
Oh yeah, true. Then again, it would be like the family of choice items, where you have one choice specs, one choice band, and one choice scarf. Everyone gets equal representation.
Can there be a choice item that raises defense?
There's Assault Vest, which is kind of like that. For special defense, but not regular defense. Assault Vest was actually a really cool trade-off. I think like only being able to use damaging moves but having the stat increase was like a really good decision for a trade-off for that item.
Assault Vest is like 100% my favorite item to use.
It's pretty fun when you could switch something in on like something super powerful and then just not take that much damage.
I sadly don't have a lot of Pokemon that really go well with Assault Vest, but it still is a lot of fun to use.
Looks like Majin Buu actually goes for the Dark Pulse, and Flare Blitz is going to take it down. Now the score is 5-5. Big question is, will we see Crook come in with that Choice Scarf and try to take down Infernape? Or actually, we could see Diancie come in too. Even though Dark Pulse didn't do that much damage, combined with the Flare Blitz recoil, Infernape is already down a third of its HP.
So it's not an awful trade-off.
Tornadus would have really helped with Tapu Bulu, but as long as Dragalge's alive, Ember still does have an answer to Tapu Bulu. If Dragalge goes down, he's going to have a really hard time taking down Tapu Bulu.
Breloom could also have a chance, depending on its moveset.
Yeah, depending on its moveset. If it's a standard moveset, Breloom's not going to have much that could hit it. And it looks like DNC is the one to come out. DNC DeGarmo.
I think the big question here is if Infernape is choiced or not.
Yeah, I don't even think Infernape would be able to take down DNC. If it used Earthquake, DNC is really bulky.
This is also Mega DNC. Well, not yet.
Yeah, true. Actually, I think Infernape doesn't get Iron Head, because if it has Iron Head, that might actually be enough to take down DNC.
I do think Infernape learns Iron Head, which is crazy.
Well, it learns, like, everything. DNC could do pretty well here, but its enemy is definitely going to be Empoleon, which is really good switching versus DNC.
Wow, I don't think Infernape gets Iron Head.
Oh, interesting. If DNC has Earth Power, it could do some nice damage to Empoleon, but Tapu Bulu could also switch in on it if it does. I don't think it will take down Tapu Bulu if it attacks with anything, pretty much anything actually. Maybe it has Flash Cannon, I'm not sure, but it looks like Quest's best options to come in right now are Empoleon and Bulu.
How many minutes are we at now?
About 45. This will probably be the longest match video that I've uploaded.
That might change in a couple days.
Oh god, yeah. Guess this is just the week of long matches. The big question, Moonblast or Earth Power, what will it use? Or Psychic, who knows, maybe it'll use Psychic. I actually didn't charge my laptop thinking I'd be fine, but I'm gonna have to charge it. So I will be back in a second. Looks like Diamond Storm is a move that DNC uses. I'm gonna go get my charger really quick.
Go plug it in.
Alright, I am back. It looks like versus Empoleon, DNC is going to have a really hard time, especially if Bomber the Empoleon has Flash Cannon. It's probably going to want to switch out to something else. I could see Breloom definitely being a switch-in here. Empoleon can threaten Breloom with Ice Beam, though. Actually, Milotic could be a switch-in too, to get that recovery going.
Throw those rocks he has to worry about still.
Yeah. Looks like Dragalge's actually the one to come out. Flash Cannon's not going to do that much damage, though. Dragalge's still sitting pretty comfortably at 44%, but I wonder what Dragalge has that could handle Bomber. Only Flash Cannon has been revealed as a move on this Empoleon. It might have Earthquake, anticipating that Dragalge. Dragalge very well can have Thunderbolt, though. And in comes Carly, the Sigilyph. Dragalge is going to go for the Protect, but it fails. But it can use Protect this turn to scout what move Sigilyph goes for. And since Sigilyph is likely choiced, that could inform what Ember's switch-in will be.
We haven't seen Crocodile come out yet.
Yeah, that could change soon, though. If Sigilyph goes for the Psychic, Crocodile could be Ember's chosen switch-in. But Quest can anticipate that if he goes for the Psychic and Dragalge goes for Protect. It would be pretty obvious, I think, that Crocodile would be the one to switch in to that Protect. If that's the case, a switch to Tapu Bulu could maybe be what he goes for.
Sigilyph does look good for the rest of this battle now that Tornadus is gone.
Interesting. It goes for the Ice Beam. I'm surprised Sigilyph even learns Ice Beam, to be honest. Losing Dragalge was a big bad thing. I don't know what I was trying to say. For Ember, that was a very potent Pokemon versus Tapu Bulu. Ice Beam would have been hard for almost anything to switch into except Diancie. Even Milotic, considering it has such low HP right now. Speaking of Diancie, that's who's going to come out versus this Sigilyph, but if what happened last time will happen again, we could very well see Empoleon come in to take that Diancie's attack. It's actually Tapu Bulu who comes in, setting up that Grassy Surge. Diamond Storm does huge damage, though.
Wow.
That was really intense.
And it got the defense boost.
Yeah. Diancie looks like it is sitting pretty right now. One more Diamond Storm will be able to take down Tapu Bulu. The question is, will Tapu Bulu go first? Mega Diancie is pretty fast. It definitely outspeeds Bulu unless Bulu's holding like a choice item or if it's not invested in speed.
What are the odds of getting that defense raise? Or is that a guaranteed thing?
I don't believe it's a guaranteed thing. I think it's 50%. Let's see.
I honestly didn't know it even had a defense raise.
Yeah, 50% chance to raise your defense by 2 stages.
That's nuts. It's insane.
Yeah, pretty good move. Raising your defense, however, will not protect you against a Flash Cannon, and that is likely what we'll see if Empoleon decides to come out. If Empoleon was down, this would be the match for Ember. But because Empoleon is alive and well, he's going to have a very hard time breaking through. Looks like another Diamond Storm is going to take down Bulu. That's actually really good for Ember because Bulu was such a big threat, but Empoleon is probably the biggest threat to him right now. Breloom still does have a really good matchup versus Empoleon, though, so that is something Quest should take into consideration. Flash Cannon, I'm not sure if it'll take down Breloom, and then Breloom can go for a Drain Punch. So Quest is actually going to have to consider if it wants to go for the Flash Cannon right now or not. Diancie's looking really good at taking on Infernape. Empoleon's looking really good at walling Diancie. But Crook and Breloom are actually pretty good versus Empoleon. Crook is a little bit better once the grassy terrain goes away, so its Earthquake is powered up. Score is 4-4, and this battle is so intense based on how long it's taking. It actually adds to the intensity of the battle. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and all the intensity gets thrown out the window when you're listening to this happy little disco song.
It could be pretty intense. Mirrorbee's fights can be pretty intense. Ludicolo is definitely pretty good Pokemon in Gen 3. Yeah. This one's definitely a lot more serious than the last one, too. The Colosseum one is just very, very, like, fun, and this one's a little bit more serious.
When you're imagining the character that you're fighting against with this song, though, all that seriousness
yeah, true.
goes away again.
I think Empoleon's really going to have to think here of what it wants to do. I think for Ember, the Milotic switch-in, I think that's the play. If he could recover versus Empoleon and not fear Bulu coming back in, I think that's the play for him, especially now that Grassy Terrain's up and can act as a kind of leftovers in a sense for Milotic. Absent from all this, we still haven't seen Crocodile and Breloom come out. Crocodile might be that Scarf Moxie, but it can't Earthquake comfortably until Sigilyph is gone. And then Breloom, of course, has Drain Punch, which could be really big versus Empoleon.
Quest says he's looking forward to the video.
Yeah, I mean, since we're both in this, like, it's a lot easier than me just sitting here being like, King Fuse is like, I can't wait to hear Noel. He loves to hear me suffer. I think that's like his favorite hobby.
Just listen. Yeah, whenever he's feeling down, he just goes to the video.
When he's having a bad day, he goes to his video versus Noob Scrub from season 1 and hears me like saying, "Okay, knockoff will come any moment now." I don't know if you saw that video, but it's
I haven't seen that.
It's a classic. Basically, the battle could have been over like 50 or 40 turns earlier if he just knocked off Chansey, but he didn't. So I was like, okay, when is knockoff gonna come? Alright, and it looks like Trouser Snake comes out. He does switch to Milotic. It's probable that we'll see Milotic go for the recover. Because it outspeeds Bomber the Empoleon, Milotic will be able to get that free recovery. I'm pretty sure it outspeeds at least.
I don't?
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
Recover and Scald is going to hit, not do much damage, but Burn Milotic, that is actually really good for Ember, because Burn will mean that it has Marvel skill, and with that Scald, it'll be able to recover once again. This could be the turning point of this battle for Ember. This could be his guaranteed victory. And Sigilyph comes in to threaten Milotic with that Energy Ball, but Grassy Surge is down, so it's not going to do enough damage to take it down. Milotic can go for the Ice Beam. And indeed it does. Down goes Carly to Ice Beam. In comes Infernape. This is really intense, because if Infernape has close combat and a Scarf, Quest actually might be able to sweep, depending on how much it does to Diancie. I don't know if it'll be enough to take down Diancie, but it'll do pretty big damage right now. I don't know if it'll be able to actually take down Milotic. Even at 30 HP,
yeah,
with a burn, Milotic is so sturdy. This is really the moment of truth. Can Devac take down Milotic with a close combat? If it doesn't, I think that's it for Quest.
Infernape can learn Thunder Punch, which is super effective. I don't know if it'll do as much damage as close combat, but
it can learn Thunder Punch, and it will do, I think, the same amount of damage as close combat, but if it's choiced into Thunder Punch, Crocodile can come in on it easily. Ooh, this is going to be a game-defining turn. If Milotic can take down Infernape with a Scald, that's it. Alright, we hit the 1 hour mark.
We hit the 1 hour mark. Oh my gosh.
Celebrate, yeah! Z celebrate.
Colin is celebrating with his
His
Joining and
classic,
leaving.
his tradition. Little call-in things. Oh man, this is all going to weigh down. If Milotic could get that Scald, if Devac can take down Milotic, that'll turn the tide in the favor. Another thing to consider is that if Infernape goes for the close combat, it might be in range for Breloom Mach Punch to take it down.
Oh my, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, and the close combat doesn't take down Milotic. Milotic is able to recover in Infernape's face. This is not good for Quest. Wow, look at how sturdy Milotic is with the burn. It survived an Infernape close combat. And that is why I picked Milotic Season 1.
Oh my gosh, and that's why I hate Milotic with burning passion.
Gotta love Milotic.
I don't.
Yeah, at this point, I don't know if there's any breaking through this Milotic. The most that Quest could hope for is a critical hit on the close combat, but even that might not be enough to break through Milotic's defense at this point. I hope you guys have been freaking out this whole match. Oh, actually, Infernape goes for the Z move and all-out pummeling. Will it be enough? It's still not enough to take down Milotic, and Milotic just shrugs it off. Wow. Milotic is an unbreakable wall. Infernape's just going to U-turn out of there. Probably Empoleon's going to come in. Nope, Donphan comes in. Dumbo. But one Scald will probably be enough to take down Dumbo. And that's exactly what happens. Scald takes down Dumbo. There's 2 more Pokemon left. Infernape comes out. Interesting choice. I thought he'd send out Empoleon. But it looks like Milotic is safe. Infernape is going to get hit by that Scald and go down. And Empoleon's the last Pokemon to come out versus this unbreakable Milotic. Score is now 1-4. Looks like both of these Pokemon are burned. This is going to be a slow and steady takedown of Empoleon by Milotic.
Empoleon can learn Roost, can't it?
It cannot, actually. It would be a lot scarier if it could.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it can learn Roost as well, I think we're in for another 50 turns.
Nope, this is just going to be a slow and steady Milotic Scald to take it down.
It can get the special defense lower, so
it can.
That's probably what he's hoping for.
Yeah.
Oh no, he goes for Scald.
I think Quest has accepted his defeat at this point because he sent out Donphan and Infernape versus Milotic. I think he just kind of tossed them because he knew that he wouldn't be able.
Flare blitzed.
Yeah, I think he did that because he knew he wasn't going to take Milotic down. Slow and steady wins the race. They're just trading Scalds.
Did we deserve this? Is this what we get for taking so long to start the battle?
And Breloom actually comes in. Ember's had enough of this. He's like, screw this. I'm just going to Drain Punch Bomber and be over with this. Oh, he actually goes for the Bullet Seed instead. And that is enough to take down Bomber. Breloom gets that +1 on its differential. And this is a 4-0 victory for Emberhoof's team, which is Rio Grande Rapidash, over Quest team, which is Verocious Victini. looks like Ember got to have his win versus Quest and his appeasement of this rivalry. 41 turns in like an hour and 10 minutes.
Lovely. That was fun.
But that was fun. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Thank God Milotic didn't get used against me.
Yeah, that's one very unbreakable wall right there. I think Ember did a pretty good job with overall, even with Rocks up being able to call out some moves on Quest's part. They both did a good job. I think Quest's biggest mistake was burning Milotic with Empoleon Scalds. That really just allowed Milotic to go for that Marvel scale recover. And like we said in the beginning, with Milotic not going down, Quest is going to have a really hard time, and that's what happened. There were so many times where Milotic looks like it was just about to faint, and then it didn't. That's the resilience of Milotic. This match was an example of Milotic's really strong abilities.
That was a very good, like a very well played battle by both of them, though.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much else I can say aside of that. It was just, there was a lot of thinking. There was a lot of, it was definitely a lot of mind games going on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was a very intense and awesome game. Thank you for tuning in for this really long battle, but I hope you enjoy it. And thanks, Morgana, for tuning in, for joining in with the commentary. Once again, this is a 4-0 victory for Emberhoof's team, and we're going to have some more Week 5 matches for you coming up. And see you then.